Who's asked for it? Hey everyone, sorry a bit late. Just sorting stuff out.
Hello people. I've been hanging out with Andy Wall too long. I'm starting to talk British.
So we did have Arda was joining us today, but we had he had commitments that he had to do. I'm sure it's like NHL related. So we got Marc Trinidad to jump in his stead and talk to us today as well. And Kevin will be arriving soon.
And just so everybody knows, I'm woefully unprepared.
It was a bit last minute, to be fair. But yeah. So obviously, start off with, if you're all interested, the Movies jerseys are up on the site right now. So go and fill your boots, but also stay tuned. We'll obviously,
just so everybody can see it, Andy.
It's a good jersey. See, Mark's representing. I haven't even got one. I'm wearing Orco today. But yeah, so we're going to talk to Mark quickly. Once Kevin's arrives, and we'll get Kevin on as well, and we'll have a good old chat and ask some questions. Any questions directed towards Kevin can go to Mark. So just tag Mark in the chat. He'll pick them up, and then he'll ask. Jay's doing the is moderating. So be nice. Anyone that's not nice, Jay's a bouncer. He's going to beat you out. But yeah, so we'll go from there. I'll give you some updates quickly. I think jersey-wise, Hyrule Heroes... Warriors has already been sent out. Is going out this week. Hyrule Heroes is next. And I think I remember right off the top of my head, the Knicks jerseys shortly after that, possibly before Christmas potentially, and then Movies is up today, and then any other updates we shall give you as soon as possible. Jay said he has Banhammer, everyone. So yeah, so Mark's gonna right. I've been informed Kevin is coming. He'll be here soon, and Mark is going to fire some questions. If people have got questions, Mark's going to ask me, put me on the spot right now.
I am making sure that I can pull up the lovely chat room.
Yeah. Just to note, why all right, here we go. So right, I'm going to skip that. We're going to speak to Kevin. So bear with me a second. And Mark is going to find some questions if people have got questions. Mark's going to ask them, put me on the spot right now. Hey Kevin. I'm not too bad. Yourself?
So good.
Good. I love the hat.
Thank you, my friend.
It's very good. We have Marc Trinidad with us today. I don't know if you've ever met Mark.
How are you, Captain?
Good day, sir. Good to meet you, sir.
He's a very funny dude.
I'd have my Movies jersey, but it's in Jersey, where I was wearing it last. So instead, I'm wearing the forthcoming Reapers jersey.
The Reapers jersey. I do like that jersey.
Forthcoming Zombies jersey to show off as well.
Yes.
Oh.
Can
I have a size medium, please? Size medium, direct to my house. Thank you very much, guys.
Do you have the Clerks one there, or the photo that I posted on Instagram of the Quick Stop jerseys?
Yeah, I've got a Quick Stop jersey here. I was it's in another room, but
they're all represented.
Yeah. No, it's good stuff. No, it's great having you on. This is I don't want to get too geeky or fan like, but I really like your work. Have done for many years. Listen to all your podcasts; they're excellent. Just so many questions, but it's just an honour to speak to you in general. I know there's a lot of people on here who are very jealous and messaging me during the week going, "I can't believe you're going to speak to Kevin." And I'm like, I can't believe I'm speaking to Kevin, to be honest. So it's very good.
I've been a long time admirer of your work as well. So
thank you.
Which is why we're here today.
Yes. So
wait. Look, when you say, Kevin, when you say you've been a long time admirer of Geeky Jerseys, how long has Geeky Jerseys been on your radar?
I think from the moment you guys started doing, I'm a Jersey guy, so I live in jerseys and whatnot. And particularly back when I was wearing jerseys on a regular basis, Jersey people would find me. When did you guys do the first Geeky jersey? What was it?
Oh, the first one we ever did, I think, there were some He-Man ones prior to that, before the company, but I think there was a Wookiees one that I did years and years. A Boba Fett one, I think the first one we did, actually. Wookiees was potentially after.
If I remember correctly, it was probably around the Wookiee one that people were like, have you seen this? And, I have been doing my own custom jerseys for myself seeing somebody make like a jersey that would have appealed to me that I would not have had to make because it was already made. I was like, check you out. That's awesome. So from that point forward, Geeky Jersey folks had been coming into my Venn diagram of the world and being like, why aren't you working with these guys, man? These guys make amazing jerseys. I was like, I know that. That's an amazing. We've never had strings on our jerseys. That's pretty awesome. So I've been aware of the Geeky Jerseys for quite some time, man. And it was nice that we finally got to kind of collab. I had stopped wearing jerseys after my heart attack.
Yes.
And started wearing like suit jacket instead. And at that point, we just kind of stopped making jerseys over at my website. And a bunch of people were like, where are they? What happened? And, you know, and I was like, oh, I've stopped wearing them. And they're like, we didn't. Like, you know, we live in hockey jerseys. So after a couple of years, it was apparent that people still wanted like the Silent Bob Hawks jersey that I always wore, as well as the jerseys from all the movies. So I reached out to Stuart, our guy who does like, you know, all of our licensing.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey man, these Geeky Jerseys cats, like they make pretty sweet. Is there possible collaboration to do? Because people want me to bring back the jerseys. These cats are making beautiful jerseys, better than the ones I ever made. Maybe there's something happening here. And it not only did it happen in the way of like, hey, we can make jerseys, new versions of your old jerseys and stuff, but I was able to call on Sean and the Geeky Jersey kids to actually help me make Clerks 3.
Yeah,
so like,
really,
you know,
cool.
the opening sequence of the movie has, you know, a big hockey game up on the roof. And so I was like, can we get quick stop jerseys so everybody kind of looks fairly uniform? And they're gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
Like it opens the damn movie. So later on in the movie, Jay wears the Monroeville zombie jersey, which Geeky's making as well. Somebody wears the Reapers jersey that Randall, you know, wore the hat for in Clerks 2. So not only could we make some cool jerseys and make some fans happy, they helped me make a better movie. You'll see the hockey, you know, I live in a hockey jersey world. You'll see lots of Geeky jerseys all over Clerks 3.
No, this is awesome. Like that when Sean told me that's what you asked for, I was like, one, stuff I've worked on, design's going to be a movie. That's pretty cool. And I've got a friend who's a massive fan. And I was like, you're not going to believe this shit. This is amazing. And he's just like, can't believe that you're getting this opportunity. And so that's really good to be able to see Jersey in the movie. It'd be amazing. And then just like the fact...
The movie's one that Mark is wearing right now, also in the movie. Like Randall's wearing that jersey at one point when he's directing the fake movie within the movie. So that's the one that folks can actually get now. Right?
Yeah, that went up literally as we started. That is up on the site right now for people to purchase.
Beautiful design, Andy. You did that one?
Yeah, pretty much all of them. Well, I have to say pretty much. I have done all of them. I'd say pretty much, but yeah.
Yeah, what an amazing gig, man! Like when you. Were you a design person prior?
Yeah. I've been a designer for 21 years now. Yeah, 21 years.
Was it gratifying when somebody was like, "Here, man, like we're gonna do a series of jerseys and crests"?
Yeah. Well, how we got together was there used to be a website called Puck Drawn, where you could submit like concept ideas for NHL teams and things like that and do competitions. And they did a competition, which I won that. And before Rink Gear was Rink Gear, before Geek Jersey was Rink Gear. So they were doing like the B League team jerseys and stuff. And so that was the kind of tie-up. And that's when I started talking with Sean. And Sean was like, we got this idea. Do you reckon you'd be able to help out? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And then like 8 years later, we've produced hundreds of jerseys. Working on He-Man jerseys, G.I. Joe. So I get basically to draw all the shit that I loved as a kid. I get to draw it all.
Right off camera is the Skeletor.
Yeah, I've got that's behind me, just here.
That's the one that's right behind you.
So I get to draw all this stuff that I loved as a kid. Like, so I've been drawing She-Ra lately, which is a good one. Like, that's cool.
The designs are always phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they, you know, again, like as I travel the con circuit or do live shows and whatnot, I see the work everywhere. Yeah. Like there's always a hardcore percentage of people who are dressed not just in jerseys, but in geeky jerseys. So you know, it's nice to be able to kind of be in the family at this point. They made, look, I was going to show you this. Look, they made this cool ass
Yeah, that was mine. I did that.
logos inside, man. Like, how dope is that? Like, even Kev's New Jerseys, and like you dudes do the patches as well. Like, we haven't done many, but I saw for the, you know, we've got for the Bob Hawks. You added the
I was oddly enough, I was in. It sounds really bad. I was in the shower and I was thinking about what stuff to do, and I was like, do you know what would really work if I took the Chicago Blackhawks C with the hammers and put joints over it and with a B, and that totally works.
Yeah.
Then we got shoulder patches, and it was one of the ideas in the shower.
You would honestly be surprised how many people are like, I was thinking about you in the shower.
This is scary that men think about other men in the shower.
It is very much so.
Regardless.
Yeah, it's a bit scary, isn't it? But,
I have a question for you, Andy.
Yeah, go.
How long has Kevin Smith been on your guys' dream board? Because I know, because of the background with Kevin wearing the hockey jerseys, I mean, when you formed the company, did you guys think of Kevin right away, or was it
always
a gradual
evolution? It's always from day dot, I suppose. It's a unicorn, isn't it? It's the one champion you want to advertise jerseys.
They certainly knew they had a customer in the making. And I know we can sell at least one jersey to this cat, man. He loves these jerseys. It's got to be gratifying though, to like your whole business now is this. Like like how awesome you get to live off of fandom, about creating art, putting it onto people's chests. And you're creating art based on your appreciation for the IP, for whatever it is that's getting jersified. Like, it's such a great way to live, man. It's an artistic life.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like I was saying, like it's sort of stuff I appreciate. But that kind of stuff comes from listening to a lot of podcasts. Like the point where we kind of got together, or we kind of the connection was made. Like I was working a good job, like don't get me wrong, I was working for massive clients and stuff. But like I started like actually I need to be doing more. There's something more I can be doing. So the first Nightmare on Elm Street jersey was literally just from some sketches. And that jersey works straight away. You just put the stripes round and it's job done. But that just came from just sitting at lunchtime and drawing and being like, actually I'm gonna vector this and make this. And then what the good thing about the Geek Jersey stuff is now is that it's almost like a digital sketchbook for me, because I go from the first lot to now, and it's like I've improved all this much, all the way up to now, and it's taken like 8 years, but it's more kind of, it's good to look back at it and go, well, that's pretty crap, but I can do better now, so let's remake this and make a second version and make it look even better than the last one, and then we got another one out of that, and then doing the license stuff is just brilliant.
And think about this, like at the end of the day, like here, I'll make a movie and I hope that people go see it. But even if they do, unless they engage with somebody else about it, nobody's going to know. It's not like there's a brand on them that says, like, I saw fucking Clark's 3 or something. Someone wears your art, you could literally see the visual impact of like, oh my God, there's somebody. If I was you, I would walk Comic-Con floors and just feel so good about myself.
Like the local rink we got here, the team that plays near the hockey team that plays near me. There's a guy there there's a few people that buy the jerseys there, and it's when you're watching the game, turn around and go, "What the fuck? That's my jersey." And it's like I stopped a guy once, even I've known him now, but I stopped him and said, "Can I take a photo of that jersey?" He's like, "It's a bit weird." I mean, well, I designed it, so I would like to take a photo of it in the real world. It's quite interesting. But
you have to think about it this way, Andy. Like, look, people have been making jerseys, hockey sweaters for over 100, 150 years, let's say, at this point. So that meant like home teams, local teams, or even NHL teams could do alts, variants, cool designs and whatnot. But it was very close to people that actually engaged with the sport. I would say at this point, even though there are people like who can make fun jerseys and stuff, that you guys have become so premier at it that if, let's say there's 3 people on the planet doing what you do at a prestige level, you've got to be in the top slot at this point. Like, think about it. Like, even people in the NHL, when they have to think about a jersey that's not a jersey they create, when they see cool, clever jersey, they probably understand and know it's your brand and have a respect for it. You know what I'm saying? That would blow my mind, man.
No, it's cool. I know lots of sports designers and guys that work for Adidas and design NHL jerseys. and you get messages from him going, yeah, that, like, you send them stuff and they're like, hey, that looks quality, and it's like, yeah, it's good fun. It's not like, I'm not as restricted as you guys are. Some of the stuff you have to do, so I can just let loose and do all kinds of things. It's like with just doing there's loads we're doing at the moment, but I've recently done a Man at Arms jersey, and it's like, well, this is going to look good. And like, I thought the pose from the original TV series where he's punching the lady, it's like, well, there's got to be that, isn't it, really? And the thing that's really, really fun, and one of the things that's difficult, but it's a fun part of it, is finding the team names. So like with the skeletal one for Lords of Destruction, it wasn't until kind of
what a great like
it's a really metal name. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's why it kind of looks like Metallica, the logo, because it's like it's got to look like a heavy metal band. But like doing that research is like, because I didn't even know this when doing this research, but like Caldor, who is obviously Skeletor, is Prince Adam's uncle, and it's all this really weird fan.
In one of the iterations.
So it's this really weird family feud kind of thing going on. So it's like quite, but like finding that kind of information out and being like, yeah, that's really cool. But find out like different team names. It's like with like Man at Arms is called Heroic Warriors because that's that band, the group that they made.
The name of the band.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, well, that's ideal for him because it works perfectly for his team. So, it was always the premise to kind of make team names out of these things, so they could be in like an Eternia league, and they could be all the different teams in the Eternia league. It's quite fun, but that's part of the joy of doing it. Like drawing stuff's great, but coming up with cool team names is like, it's difficult, but it's fun when you get a good one. You're like, Skeletor for sure is like, it's one of the ones you like straight away. It's like, that's the name, that's what it's got to be.
I just love listening to people who are passionate about the art that they create. This is good. I love it. It's incredible. But Kevin, you brought up the fact that what it's like for Andy and the Geeky Jerseys team to be, pursuing a passion, building something, and having it worn out on T-shirts. How heavily does it weigh on your shoulders, knowing that the story and how you built your life and became the Kevin Smith director, movie maker, etc.? How heavily does it weigh on your shoulders that you know that you're an influence for so many people coming after you? Just your storyline.
Totally. It never weighs heavy, honestly. It's the levity of my life. And when I say levity, I don't mean like I make fun of it. It's so nice knowing that there is a legacy impact to what I've done. When you're making art, it's very subjective, right? So some people are going to love it. Some people are not going to love it. Case in point, the Masters of the Universe show we just did. Some people loved it. Some people really did not love it at all.
It's excellent. They should be ignored.
There's always going to be critics.
Yeah.
Totally. Or just not even just critics, but just, everything is manufactured for consumption. We don't make the art and put it on a shelf and show nobody. We make it and we pass it on. And of course, people then have to take it in and like divine whether they like it or not. That's all part of the show. But even people that don't like what you do are influenced by you. Like, for example,
yes.
When you do something positive, people are like, oh, or something that they can mimic, or something that sparks their imagination, which makes them go, oh, that's cool, but what if you did it like this? And then it becomes their own thing. That's very positive. It's very easy to take from somebody when you're enjoying their work and you can feel inspired by them. But I've always advocated for even the folks who are like, I hate this guy and I hate his work and blah, blah, blah. I'm always like, great. I'm even more useful to you than I am to the people who like me. Because if you look at me and you're like, he's an idiot, why does he do the jobs he did? Why do they give him opportunities? I'm more talented than him. Then you are. If you believe that in your heart of hearts, absolutely. And you could use me as your lodestar, as the like, look, if that idiot is in the business, then I'm definitely going to get in the business. It's just a matter of time and practice and how much I put into my craft. So I enjoy the fact that whether or not you like what I do, ultimately you could get something out of me, because that's how I got here. I saw Richard Linklater's film Slacker and I was like, oh my God, like this counts as a movie? I want to make a movie too. And I started pursuing film, and film opened me up to all these other areas of self-expression, podcast, writing comics, the TV, streaming, whatever. Like, and it just kept giving. Creativity just creates more creativity, man. I always say there's two paths in this life, right? You got creation, you got destruction. That's it. Like there's no two ways about it and stuff. So creation path is wide open because it takes a lot of you to actually give something of yourself. And so most people don't want to do that. They're fine to just kind of watch or whatever. The destruction lanes are packed. You can't move because it's so easy to tear shit down. It's easy to snipe and snark and stuff like that. And it's fine. That's creativity in its own unique way. But my God, there's so many people doing that. It's tough to rise above when everything is snark. So suddenly you move over to the creation lanes where it's like, well, here it's wide open and it's not just about snark. It's about taking a piece of yourself and putting it out there for people to be like, what do you think? Did I say something? Does it connect with you in some sort of way? So I've been lucky enough in as much as I've been around for nearly 30 years doing this nonsense. So I've seen how long the tail is in terms of things that I did decades before paying off decades later or having an impact still later on. Like whether you like anything I've done, Clerks is a seminal film, which sounds dirtier than I meant it, but it was a movie in its era that made a lot of people go, oh my God, I think I could make a movie too. Jason Reitman, the filmmaker, who for some reason, Clerks inspired him, even though his dad made Ghostbusters. He was like, it's like, he described Clerks as like, it's like a punk rock song, dude. He's like, it's 4 chords and it's all passion and anybody can emulate that. Like, that's why people connect with it because they're like, look, he's not gifted at what he does. He's passionate. And passion goes a long way. Not everyone can be talented. I wasn't born talented. I wasn't born, in terms of like Andy couldn't draw, come up with a damn design. I can't draw for shit. If you put a gun in my head, said draw a horse, it's gonna look like a cartoon dog and you'll pull the trigger. So like I know that there's talent that I don't have in this life. Doesn't mean I can't play the game. There are lots of people that like, let's use hockey as an analogy. There's an elite level where people play hockey in the NHL and wear jerseys and stuff like that and get paid millions of dollars to play a game. Doesn't mean we all don't play hockey. I've played hockey. Nobody pays me to do it, but boy, I had a great time doing it over the course of my lifetime from when I've done it. So same thing with creativity. Just because you're not operating at some peak level where the whole world is seeing it and you're getting paid money to do it, doesn't mean you can't engage with creativity. Doesn't mean you can't make something for yourself that's for you, for your friends. That's all Clerks was meant to be. Wasn't meant to be like, this is the start of a career. I just wanted to make a movie for me and my friends that I thought would be kind of fun. Same thing that people do, or generations now have been doing on YouTube for like 20 years. Same thing that TikTokers are doing right now, where, some people I'm sure are like thinking about it as a career because they've seen people take off from TikTok. But a lot of people just engage with it because they're like, you mean I could just make a video and I could put a song on it and like, this seems fun. I'll do it because it's fun. You start things because they're fun. And then with enough passion, and I'm not saying every fun thing has to become a career, but if you have enough passion for something, as we've seen in the world of geeky jerseys, you could take it from, oh, this is a cool idea, one-off, to building a damn company where you wake up in the morning and all you think about is like, what's the next jersey going to look like? What character is it going to be? We're only going to make this many, and when it's gone, we move on to the next thing. They constantly recreate their business. That comes from passion. That comes from fandom. That didn't come from like a bunch of kids. It didn't come from Sean and Andy sitting there going to school for 10 years going, how do we build a jersey company? Passion will take you so far. Talent is given to the very few. Wayne Gretzky was born talented enough to play the game of hockey. His father brought it out in him, but he was born with God-given talent. Not all of us get that. Doesn't mean you don't get to play as well. So even if you just have a passing interest, even if you've ever watched somebody do a thing, you're like, that seems fun. Why not take an opportunity to do it in this best of all possible worlds while you're above ground? Because stranger things have happened than that thing becoming your career. You're talking to some cats right now who went from like, wouldn't it be cool if I did this to like, that's what we do for a living in all our separate walks of life. So
you are preaching to the choir, Pastor. Preaching to the choir.
It's almost
this era more than any other. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and nobody was encouraged to do jack shit, man. Like nobody said you have the power. You have. Well, I mean, He-Man did, of course, on the TV show. He'd say I have the power, but nobody told kids you could do this, you could do that, you could try this and stuff. They told you go to school and then go to college. That's the key to a good life. I'm here to tell you, figure out what you love in life, what you are most passionate about, what you'll do for free in life, and then figure out how to get paid to do that for a living. And that's the secret to happiness, man.
Dude, I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to put some epic music in the background and I'm going to play it for my kids. So I'm like, this is what I've been telling you for years. Find what you love and do that.
So it's almost like,
okay.
To make a He-Man based analogy, because we move on to that, it's almost like Prince Adam uses a sword. It's the lightning rod. It's the lightning rod you need to be able to go, like, you have the ability, or you have the power to do what you want. You just need that spark and that lightning rod to go, right, this is it.
And everybody has the spark, right?
Yeah,
there's something that everybody watching is passionate about. And I know some people are like, look, if we're all doing the thing we're passionate about, who's going to like sell French fries and stuff like that? Don't saying like you pick that thing and that's the only thing you can do. Some people do that. Believe me, I worked at a convenience store until somebody's like, here's a bunch of money for your art, because it's not like I could have afforded not to. So you could still have a real job, but still be real passionate about your art and about the potential future. And I'm not just saying art, like, because some people get turned off by that. We're like, well, I'm not artistic. You'd be surprised what counts as art. Let's just put it under the broad umbrella of self-expression, because everybody's capable of doing that. You know, when you say artistic, some people are like, well, I'm not artsy at all. Fine. You're self-expressive. I know everybody in this world, in the age of social media, everybody has a fucking opinion. So I know you're self-expressive. So take it beyond simply being like, I watched a movie and here's what I think about it, or I watched a sporting event and I think they suck. And take that self-expression to another place, to a more honest place. It's so easy to bitch, kids. Everybody can bitch. Everybody does it, man. That's what fuels the internet, a lot of bitching. But could you imagine if instead of expressing disappointment, disillusionment, you expressed something that gave somebody hope? You know, like here, I'm sitting here talking this shit. Somebody out there is going, yeah, motherfucker. Like,
well, I was that one person. Yeah, I was
that you can like reach somebody positively rather than negatively. You know, here's a dopey example. You go on TikTok and everybody puts up life hacks and stuff like that. So stupid, so simple, so beautiful, so creative, so important. Like, I'll tell you right now, there are life hacks on TikTok that are probably more useful than anything that I've put into the world artistically. So the sky's the limit. It's self-expression. Doesn't have to be a movie, kids. Don't have to write a book. Self-expression is knitting a blanket, if that's your thing. Self-expression, of course, is doing a podcast. There are lots of those in the world. But self-expression is just like, you know what? I've always wanted to open a dog walking business. Like, I love animals. I'm good with dogs. Yeah, I do this other thing, but like, shit, I'm going to try this. Like, it's all counts as self-expression, kids. Self-express. Don't just use your voice on the internet to bitch. Like, everybody does that. And I'm not saying don't do it. It's fun. Of course it's fun, but it's easy. Use your voice on the internet for something more, where you could actually wind up using that voice for a living. Could you imagine? Think about how often people like don't get hurt in this world. I believe we need three things as a human being: food, fucking, and to be heard. And food and fucking, you know, food's relatively easy to hook up in some places of the world. Fucking, that depends, I guess, who you are or how charming you are, or if you're attractive. There's a whole bunch of factors in that. But to be heard is the most difficult one, man, because even in a world where everybody can have a Twitter account and everybody can jump on Facebook and express themselves, not everyone's listening, because everyone's out there doing the same thing. Everybody's opening their windows and yelling out their complaints. So nobody's really concentrating so much on yours. But where you stop a motherfucker dead in their tracks is if you say something useful to them. If you say something that, like, instead of like, I fucking hated this, like, join the club. But if you're like, hey man, I thought of this, and it touches them here, or more importantly here, captures their imagination, they'll have use for you. They'll come back to you. That's the only reason I'm still in this world, while I'm still on your internets and stuff, because kids are like, hey, he said something useful. As long as you can make yourself useful to people, they'll keep you, they'll let you stick around, and you get weird, wonderful jobs where they're like, here, talk, and now we'll give you money to just say what's on your mind. Like,
Yeah.
that happens. We all know this. Like, you know, the internet is full of success stories of people that went from like, I had 3 followers to now they're Joe Rogan, for Christ's sake. So anything's possible. Self-express positively.
Recognition is important, my friend. And on that note, let's spin it across to recognition for your art form. You're coming out with Clerks 3. Are you going to give us any more information about Clerks 3 and what you're doing in it? How it was filming it? You need to talk to us about it.
We're done now. We're completely wrapped on the movie. We start sound mixing mid-January. We just received our rating, so they gave us an R. Go figure. We probably really didn't even have to submit it. They probably just could have given the R right off.
They knew, reputation alone.
I mean, I ain't fighting it, but like they did list it. Like one of the things was drug references or something, and I'm like, what drugs? Depending on what state you're in.
Doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
Weed is not a drug. It seemed a little archaic, but I ain't bitching. Like we got the R. That's what we were going for. So yeah, we're getting close. It'll be out probably midpoint next year. So mid 2022. Awesome. Lionsgate has it. We have a marketing screening with them, I think the first week of January or something like that. And that's going to decide when it comes out and stuff. We'll probably tour it like we did with Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, because I loved doing that, man. Some people are like, of course you love it. You charge $100 a ticket, but it's like, yes, it's a road show. So we show the movie and then come out and do a show afterwards and talk about it and whatnot. But that is, never mind the money, man. Just the idea of like being in the room with a hardcore audience, because the only people who spend that much money
will appreciate your work. Yeah.
They'll get every damn joke. Like you feel like in those rooms on tour, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, I felt like the smartest person in the world, because I'm like, every dumbass joke that I stuck in there landed so well for this audience who's been watching this stuff for decades at this point. So I look forward to doing that again with Clerks 3 as well, taking it out into the world. Hopefully there's not another COVID variant that will be battling.
Well, I was saying to Mark, we're getting battled by Transformers at the moment by the sounds of it. It got Omicron. They should have just called it Unicorn straight out and get it done with it.
I noticed it's so much more marketable.
Yeah, it'd be like you've had to sell t-shirts with it on. Unicorn's killing us. And if you look at the virus thing, it looks like Unicron as well. Like the virus model.
A bit, yeah. Absolutely.
So, I will like to ask right away, seeing that you're going to be taking it on tour, that you do come north of the parallel and come across to Canada. We would love to see you up here, sir.
Always. When we toured Reboot, we went up north as well. Like, honestly, I've been very fortunate as much as a good portion of our audience it can be found up north in the true north. I've always had a strong Canadian backing, which is nice. The hockey jersey certainly hasn't hurt that over the years.
Hockey on the whole.
Yeah. A lot of people, and Degrassi and stuff like that. Casting Alanis Morissette as God, that certainly helped with Canadians. A lot of folks have assumed over the years that I am Canadian, that I was born there, that like, because the hockey, the jerseys, and I was like, no, I'm from New Jersey, but like I'm a huge Canada-phile. So yes, there's no way we'd skip Canada with a tour.
And as you brought up New Jersey, I would like to bring up, how did you come up with Kev's New Jersey's concept?
The idea for years, of me when I was wearing jerseys out in the world, this is going to sound corny and stuff, but it's true, was, I grew up in Jersey, and it's a big part of who I am, big part of my life. And ironically, I was a person that was never going to leave. Like, unlike my brother and sister, they wanted to get the fuck out, like a Bruce Springsteen song, just get out there in the world. They went to college, got out of Jersey and stuff. I was never that person. I never really wanted to go anywhere. But ironically, because of the movie we made, my career has taken me like all around the world and stuff. And so I don't get the one thing that I've always wanted, which is like, I never want to leave New Jersey. Like, this is where it all happens for me. This is my home. This is my base. So when I wore the jerseys, that meant no matter where I was in the world, get ready, kids, this is some corny bullshit. No matter where I was in the world, I was always in Jersey, so to speak. Yeah. So there was a level to the level. I also love wearing hockey jerseys because boy, you could gain or lose 15 pounds under them and nobody notices.
And nobody knows.
Very forgiving garments. A fat guy's moo-moo, I always used to say. So, wearing them was, it became a brand for me. People are like, oh, there's that guy. I don't know what he does, but he's always wearing a hockey jersey and stuff. So it for me, it was, when we had sold jerseys at one point at my site, we called it Kev's New Jerseys. And then we folded that all up. When we came over to Geeky, it was like, oh, let's just keep calling it that and kick off a line of jerseys that are like, well, first the movies one, then the quick stop one, then the classic ones that I've had in the past in the movies, like the Reapers one, or the Monroeville Zombie one from Zach and Miri, which is now in Clerks 3. But then also the ones that I used to wear, like, because, I have a bunch of custom designed crests. So I naturally will be doing the Bob Hawks jersey with the added patches up top. And then because of the, View Askewniverse and the world we've created, we could keep going. And the beautiful thing about what Geeky does is they keep the number tight. So it's not like we're going to make 10,000 of these until people are like tired. They're like, we're going to make, well, in our case, we're very cheekily 420 of each, 420 of each. And then once they're gone, they're gone. So, if down the road we do an alt Bob Hawks jersey or something with a difference to it, great. But once they're sold out, they're sold out. And I love that, man. The idea of like completion is tough. Like once you turn on an artistic career, or if you're yourself for a living, there's no such thing as completion until the grave. So like when you can finish a project, like when a movie's done, you're like, that's finished. Now on to the next thing. The idea of like, wait, we sold all those jerseys? Now on to the next jersey and stuff like that. Keep it fresh for the audience that likes it. So it's kind of a match made in heaven. I was so glad that they were willing to keep it as Kev's New Jerseys, because I felt very clever when I came.
When Sean messaged me and said there's one label saying Kev's New Jerseys, I was like, that's genius, it's such a clever idea, I love it, because it's got a good like pun to it and things. On the back of that,
like one or two good idea a lifetime, then I ride it into the
just
ground.
ride it, that's it.
Oh yeah, ride that horse until that horse drops dead. Yeah. I got a quick story I want to share with you, Kevin, because of this actual movie jersey. I'm at an event, walking around. This is to tell you how passionate your fans are. Mm-hmm. I was one of the few that got one of these before they came into production. And I was walking around at an event, and a gentleman approached me, asked me where I got the jersey. I happened to tell him. He happened to offer me $1,000 to take the jersey off my back and give it to him. And as you can see, I still have the jersey, but this is how rabid your fans are to have your product line, your merchandise line. They're such fans of you, sir. This is why I was asking about how heavily does it weigh that you inspire so many people because of your history and what you've done.
I'll tell you right now, Mark, I think you made a big mistake.
I have the story.
If you ever offer me $1,000 for the shirt I'm wearing, kids, it's yours right there. I'll go tits out. It don't matter. $1,000.
It was like the $20 for signing stuff.
I couldn't go outside after take -5. You know what my nipples would have looked like at -5? No, man. I'm a Caribbean man. I can't do that. No.
But you could have taken that $1,000, went to Canadian Tire, bought like a $12 sweatshirt. Honestly, you could have hit the streets of Granville in Vancouver, picked up a sweatshirt for probably a toonie, maybe 2 toonies at max, and you would have been $996 ahead of the game, though.
I appreciate your thought process. However, this is how geeky fans are. We will not take the jersey off our back and pass it on.
I like that you passed him up and said no, because I have. They're kind of like unicorn items. I have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles jersey, which was a production, because obviously I get production samples. So I got a production sample of that, and it's the only one in existence. And Sean doesn't even have one either. That on the patches, they all have red masks rather than the coloured ones that we had on the jerseys, because like some of the oranges and the reds didn't work. And so it only has like all 4 like original Ninja Turtle like all red masks. And it's like, so I'm the only person that has. Well, there's another one somewhere. Maybe we're thinking Nickelodeon.
How much? So what would somebody, if somebody came up to you and said 1,000, is that enough for you to go? All right.
Possibly. I'm quite frivolous with my design stuff because I always look back at it and have to criticise. So I'll probably do myself a favour by getting rid of it.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you can make a new one.
Well, no, there is that as well. But that's the thing. It's like you look back at it.
I love the fact that you're not ganging up on me now.
Yeah, but Mark, to be fair, you could have bought a new one today, and still had like $800 left.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have had the story, guy. I still have the story.
You still have the story. But the story would be...
I appreciate the brand loyalty there, Mark. But
loyalty, Mark.
But you could have turned up today, Mark, told that story, and then been with your money, firing it out at the screen at everyone. Look at them. Like, I just sold
you made it look like I was at the strip club, Andy.
Yeah, I just sold a $120 jersey for $1,000 and bought another one and still got money.
The movies one is on sale right now because you don't have to pay $1,000 for it. What are they selling it for, Andy? How much right now?
I think it's $120. I think it's $120. I'm not too sure.
You can get one right now. It is beautiful. Number one, you see Mark modeling it. It's fantastic. The purple is so nice. I've seen it in Clerks 3. Randall wearing it, and it is gorgeous, gorgeous. So
and at the exchange rate, it's 4,000 Canadian dollars.
That's right. 28,000 Canadian. 420 of these. Once they're gone, kids, they're gone forever.
Done.
Yeah.
The numbers thing is one.
Mine's in Jersey, hanging up in the store right now.
The numbers thing we get a lot of questions like, why do you do limited runs? And it's like, well, because that drives the collectability of these things. Like they are premier items, and if there's only a limited amount, people will buy them. Like the Ninja Turtles one sold out within 2 days, I think. And between me and Sean, we don't really. The jersey's nice, but the logos are terrible. I could have done so much better. And we both always talk about it, like it's weird because it's the one probably the license one we don't like the most, but it sold the most. So it's like, well, other people must like it, so that's kind of validating my design works. That's all right. But
as long as you respect the fan base, man.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. Like one thing we like you might notice the community we have, like with Mark and the other guys who have in the fan groups and stuff. It's really nice that we get a lot of nice messages. You get some people like you always get, like I said, you always get the naysayers and the people like the world's open to criticism.
Yeah, for example, I'm sure somebody right now is naysaying in the comments.
Oh yeah, no two ways about it.
Fan base, Mr. Masters of the Universe himself.
But like we do get the nice messages.
There's going to be critics.
Yeah, you just get the nice messages from people where they're like, "This stuff makes me smile. It makes my day better." Just putting a jersey on and being like, "Look at this cool jersey. This is what I'm wearing today," and then makes them happy. And that just so when someone messaged me that a few weeks ago, and I'm like, "Well, that just makes me happy because I'm doing something that's making you happy and it's making you confident."
But it's also for some cats, and I speak personally as somebody, one of those cats. You know, there's that expression, "Clothes make the man," or whatever the hell. Sometimes, like the garment you're wearing makes you feel confident enough to go out into the world. So it's not just like, "Ooh, I like this. This is styling," or somebody's going to be like, "Hey, that's pretty damn cool. Where'd you get it?" But it is your suit of armor. It is
that's exactly that. Exactly that.
You being trapped in the house and you willing to go out into the world, like that's magical. I'm not overstating it. You know, some people are like, "Come on, it's just clothes." You know, some people don't realize how difficult it is for some folks to cross that threshold. And if that gives them the confidence, they're like, "I look smoking in this. Like, this is the best I look wearing this jersey." Bam, man. Suddenly it goes from just a cool garment to a suit of armor, to a necessary piece of wardrobe. I mean, that's pretty damn sweet. Yeah, good for you guys.
So I'm going to throw some love your way and talk Masters of the Universe. Right, loved it. I was a big He-Man fan as a kid. We haven't watched the second part yet, and I'll be honest, we haven't, because we watch it as a family. Because me, my daughter, and my wife, because my daughter loves He-Man as well. So we just haven't. My wife's a teacher, so she's busy at the moment at schools and shit. But we all sit together and watch it as a family. So we watch it over Christmas. But we rate like with Jay. Jay's the other moderator. He's my son. He's on today, but he's watching for all the dickhead questions. But yeah, so we all watch it together and we all sit. But what I really loved about it is like in your style, like rather than like, because I was talking to Jay about this earlier, where like it's not just He-Man. Like, because there are a lot of people, you see all the people complaining about it. It's like, right, but you've got to look at it this way. It's not just He-Man. It's Masters of the Universe. It's about everyone. And what I loved was that you actually took the spotlight off He-Man. I meant, what about all these other characters? And
that was the exact job that they hired me to do. When Mattel hired me, they're like, "It's not called He-Man. and the Masters of the Universe, we want to do something called Masters of the Universe. And we want to bring all the other characters forward. That
into
was my
spotlight.
If I had gone in and been like He-Man every episode, they would have been like, "You're not the guy for the job," and they would have just somebody else. That's what they want.
Because if you retrospectively look at the original TV series, it's always like He-Man, here's my buddies, and I'm going to beat people. I'm going to beat Skeletor, and my buddies just going to hang around and do their thing. As in where this, it's just really nice, like seeing, but also the dynamic. What if He-Man and Skeletor weren't there? And then what are these other people going to step up and do? Like Teela steps up and starts fighting crime and stuff. And then like Man at Arms kind of recessed into himself and hid away. And it's these kind of things because he felt like he failed. But it's really nice to see that kind of paradigm of it all and be like, actually, this is really cool. And then obviously the second half, like I'm aware of what happens, but second half, like where it's like, no, now it's all balls out. Everyone's fighting. My son Jay even mentioned me earlier, he goes, they fired Ram Man out of a cannon. Excellent. What they should have done that in the original TV series. So I mean, things like that. It's just like
that was Eric Carrasco who wrote that episode. Just Jeff's kiss. Such an amazing script there. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I know I'm not an idiot. I know there were a bunch of people that were unhappy with it, but I'll tell you, like, if I had delivered anything other than the thing they asked of me, I wouldn't have gotten the job. Like, this is what everyone wanted to do. I know a lot of people are like Kevin Smith, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was showrunner, I was in charge, but I was given like, this is what we want to do. We want to do something interesting. We don't want to do him in every episode. We want to do Masters of the Universe, and we want to elevate all the other characters. And the idea of a story where what happens if the two pillars of the community disappear for a little bit was the mandate. That's what I was given. That's not me coming to the table going like, you know what I'd like to do. That was them going like, this is your job. And I was like, right on. So as far as that's concerned, I know, again, there's some people that absolutely love it. I've seen lots of wonderful feedback, and there's some people that absolutely hate it. I've seen their feedback as well. But at the end of the day, like it wasn't me going like, this is a creative, flight of fancy. I was hired to
do given direction.
It's the brief, isn't it?
Direction, and did the job like to the team.
According to the direction you were given, yes.
The people responsible were like, that's what we wanted. Well done, Kevin.
But it's like, sorry, go on.
When folk got upset, it was like, oh, wow. That's contrary to what even Mattel and Netflix had, vision for this. So, and also the idea too was like, it was conceived as a trilogy. We'll see if we ever get there, right? But it's like the first part, there's second part, and then there's a third part. Second part was like once we did the story where He-Man and Skeletor are removed for a temporary, and it was only a temporary period.
Yeah, it was only temporary, yeah.
Season 2 is like them 24/7. And season 3 as well. So, because it's not like you can do that storyline again and again.
No, but it's the setup. It's the setup for the payoff. But you follow the
whether or not we get there depends purely on views. I know a lot of people, think it's based on merit or something like that, or in terms of like whether the critics like it or the public liked it or whatnot. It's purely a mathematical algorithm based on how many people watch it. So right now we're in a holding pattern waiting to see, now that the second part dropped, how many people return and finish, and based on that they either do or don't trigger.
I'll make sure we watch it soon, so then they do. Our figures can add to
that. But you better watch it
quick. But the thing is, like,
use a VSP, watch it again.
Fingers crossed. If we get to go forward, as lovely. We've had plans since we started this of what the story will be and stuff. But if I don't get to go forward with it, or if it doesn't go forward at all, like it was, I with apologies to the folks that didn't care for it, like one of my favorite creative experiences of my life. Working with the team, like my bosses at Mattel and Netflix were absolutely wonderful. All of my writers were wonderful and stuff. It was fun and totally worth doing. Again, not for some people who are like, you ruined everything. But trust me, kids, like if you don't like it, just wait 2 minutes. Another one's coming. Like they won't leave this concept alone.
But that's
like
I think the critics don't understand comic books. right? Because it's a
I don't even
story.
think that. I certainly don't want to get into a blanket like critics don't, because actually critics like loved the Masters of the Universe this time around. It's not one certain group. It's not. It's just you got people that liked it and the people that didn't like it. And at the end of the day, you know, that's always been my job. Like, you know, in terms of you put something out there, some people like it, some people don't. With something like Masters of the Universe, which I didn't create but worked on, you know, was given this to play with, somebody else's toys, the opinions get more passionate at the end of the day. Like, you know, if I make a movie with Jay and Silent Bob and have them do something, people like, you know, they go sober or whatever, fuck, and people are like, what? That's against character and whatnot. I'm like, well, I created Jay and Silent Bob, so whatever I say goes. That's not the case with Masters. You know, people are like, hey, those toys I played with, they're not yours. And I'm like, I'm with you, but these were the directions that I was given that came with the play set.
But it's part of the creative brief, isn't it? It's the brief you're given that you have to. It's like the same with what we do. We get a brief and say, well, this is what we want, and it's like, right, well, this is what we've got to play with. But like you were saying about the different paths, like it's the same kind of thing, taking the design related thing. I always say that there's always three types of people. There's the people that hate it, there's the people that sit on the fence, and there's the people that are going to love it. And you only need to you only need to really achieve two of those things, and the others can do one because everyone's always got that's what you said, especially in these days, everyone's got an opinion. Everyone always has to voice their opinion. I don't always want to hear it, but that's the problem, isn't it?
The great secret about even negativity is if somebody's out there, in the case of geeky jerseys, going, I hate that jersey, it sucks, they are boosting it to a bunch of people who probably wouldn't have heard about it or seen of it. And based on my experience, and I've only been doing this for 30 years, kids, that generates another sale altogether. Yeah. So even somebody who's like, I hate this and what it stands for, this is stupid, by shining a light on it, you've just helped us sell another tip. So if you hate something in this world and in the internet, honestly, best course of action is to ignore it. Otherwise, you're going to help one way or another.
That's kind of thing.
You know.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go.
That's incredibly accurate.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing we're trying to teach her. My daughter's 11, so we're trying to teach this at the moment. It's like she sings and stuff, and it's like she's like, this girl said this, and it's like, yeah, but what you got to realise is that drives you forward. Their negativity, you go, fuck you, I'm going to take this and I'm going to grab that and I'm going to drive it even forward and work even harder to prove you wrong. And be trying to get to that kind of thing. It's like, we need to beat you. Yeah. It's like, ignore those. Just use that as fuel to drive yourself on to be like, no, I'm going to make it even better. I'm going to do better.
It's tough to tell kids to ignore the negativity. Yeah. I'm certainly not, I never say embrace the negativity, but it's there and you have to deal with it. If you're putting something into the world, you can't expect that everyone's going to be like, great job. So if you're willing to hear somebody tell you how smart you are, you also have to be willing to hear people tell you how bad you are at your job. Now, you know, some people are like, hey man, well then why do you block people on Twitter? You know, look, if people get personal or attack my family or something like that, that's beyond expressing your opinion about some cartoon or about some movie that I've made or something. So those people lose their right to be able to reach me and say horrible things. I don't cut off people just for saying negative things about what I do. You know, it's just, you know, couch it like a human being. Don't suddenly feel like, you know, you look, if you can't behave that way in front of me in person, don't behave that way like that on the internet. If it's uncivil and civil, like I'm probably going to block you. You know, bringing my wife into Masters of the Universe has nothing to do with anything. So naturally, those kind of cats go away. But I take it all. Like, you know, it's like if I allow myself to be like, all right, I'm going to read the good shit, then I have to read the bad shit. So what I do more often than not lately is just not read feedback at all. It's like, it's almost a fool's errand because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, I express myself. This is when it comes to my stuff. Like when it comes to Masters, that's different. But when it comes to my stuff, like Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, to this day, I've never read the reviews. And my friend is like, you would love them. For the first time in years, they actually gave you good reviews. And I was like, yeah, but if I read the good ones, that means I also have to read the bad ones and I have to give them equal weight and stuff. So I made this movie for me and I'm happy with it. And I saw it with many audience. They were happy with it. So I'm glad some people wrote nice things about it. But right now, I don't need that in my life as much as I did when I was younger, as a young artist, baby filmmaker. I needed people to tell me, all the critics, like, what did I do right? Did I do wrong? After 30 years of doing it, I realized there is no such thing as wrong. Like, you know, there's no such thing as right either. Sometimes you do it and people like it in the moment. Years later, the movie's viewed differently. Sometimes in the moment you make it, everyone hates it. Years later, it becomes fucking Mallrats.
Yeah.
Like, you never know.
It's just interpretation, yeah.
Just
You
do what makes you happy.
Put it
That's the
out
thing.
there and step back. I'm sorry.
No, they'll do what makes you happy. That's the thing. Is you don't want that like weight around your ankles dragging you down. When, like you said, you have to give them equal measure, and it just becomes a weight around your ankles. And you're like, well, what's the point? Like,
well, it depends what you want to do, right? Like, when you make a thing, do you want to spend time victory lapping it? Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
Like, you don't make a thing and then put it out there and go right to the next thing. You want people to react to it and stuff like that. It depends how much of that is important to you. So you could put something out there, regardless of what it is. Again, not just making a movie or writing a book. You know, if I can knitting a sweater, whatever the fuck. Put it out there, get your feedback and whatnot, but doesn't have to affect how you feel about it. And mind you, there are going to be people here. I'll ruin the mystery for you. Some people are going to love what you do. Some people are going to hate what you do. That's simple. Some people will snark, but they generally wind up in the second category. But that's it. It's a binary, kind of code. And if you're lucky, you get more people doing the former than the latter. And sometimes if you make yoga hosers, it's all the latter, very little the former. But that was the price you pay for getting to make the thing you want to make. Yeah. And sometimes that means you got to take it on the chin and people telling you suck at your job. But it's like, yeah, but this is the two things I always say to myself after I do a thing, successful or not. But generally, this is helpful if something has been unsuccessful. Two things I say to myself. One, you wanted this. Oh my God, you wanted this. You changed the shape of the universe to make whatever this thing was happen. You went and found millions of dollars. You made people fly to another part of the world to lie on camera and stuff. You wanted this so badly. So don't turn your back on it now if it didn't work out the way you hoped it would work out. Yeah. You wanted this. You got it. Fucking enjoy it. And then the second thing I always say to myself, and again, this is very helpful if a thing doesn't work, is, okay, what was the alternative? Like at the end of the day, I knew I could do that thing. And to not do it would have sat in my chest and ate at me like a cancer. It's not like we were talking about, how do I get from here to the moon? I can't accomplish that. We're talking about something as simple as like, to pick on the movie yet again, yoga hosers. Some people are like, why'd you do that? And I was like, because I could. Like I knew how to. And if I didn't, it would live in my chest forever and haunt me. The fact that I didn't because I could have, but just didn't because what? I was lazy or something. So those two things always help, man. Like you wanted this, and what was the alternative? There never is an alternative. When the thing is crying out to be made, you make it, and then you take your chances. Sometimes people are like, we all love the thing. And sometimes they're like, we all hate the thing. But generally speaking, it's usually right between the two.
That's the thing.
I appreciate just getting a master class in philosophy today, because
and mind you, that's all
the things that drive you. Yeah, it is the things that drive you to do any action is the philosophy behind that action. And we're hearing so much from you today. I want to ask you because I know you have limited time, and I'm very respectful of your time. But I want to ask you, why is it? Because I know there's a philosophy behind here as well, too. Why is it that you make sure that you employ your friends, you bring your friends in? I think that was something that someone once said about you as well, too. But what's the driving factor behind it that you bring all your friends in all the things that you do?
It's a great question. My friends were a big part of why I do what I do. Like you're the sum total of all the people that you spend time with in your life. And so I don't get to make Clerks unless I spent time with all those people who were my friends, and bringing them with me just made sense. Like, why go make a whole bunch of new friends that I have to explain who I was and where I came from when, there's no reason to end the current friendship with these people. And like in success, why don't I want them to come with me as well? Sharing the wealth, so to speak, for as much as they want to. So it just always occurred to me as like, the good play. You know, some people like to keep their family and friends very separate, but I don't work in a business that requires that. You know, this ain't banking. This is fucking fun. We make pretend for a living. Like, gussy it up all you want and say what you will, but literally it is making pretend for a living. Who do you make pretend with in your life? Your friends, your family. So I always felt like, ooh, come in, let's do this. Let's do a thing. Whether it's, you know, Jason Mewes, who I built a whole movie around, or, you know, Brian Johnson and Walter Flanagan, my friends who like I hung out with. And then like when the movies took off, you know, I was like, oh my God, come be in all of them. And they became Tell 'em Steve Dave, that podcast and stuff. You know, and family as well. You know, I got married to my wife and she's not an actress and she'll be the first to tell you that, but don't mean I'm not going to stick her in everything I make. I stick all my friends in my movies. Why wouldn't I stick my best friend, for heaven's sake? So yeah, it's just always kind of worked out for me. And honestly, there's no downside. It's nice to have people around who know you or knew you when, so to speak. Because, you know, life changed when Clerks got picked up. Suddenly I went from having like a $5 an hour job at a convenience store to a career in filmmaking. That could fuck with one's head. But if you got your friends and family around, they'll keep you grounded. They'll remind you you're an idiot that got lucky and shit like that. You know, if you put new people in there, just all new people, they only know successful you, you know. And I guess for some people that matters. Some people are like, I only want them to know successful me. I think for me, it's more gratifying to have people around who knew unsuccessful me, because they're like, man, what a leap this was. Like, you know, my mother has known me my whole life. No one is more impressed with my career than my mother, because my mother's like, I knew that kid. He came out of me and he was an idiot. And yet he's got this whole career now. So I've seen him go from the little idiot to a guy who people like. And she's like, so I like having someone around who remembers me before I did what I do for a living, who remembers me at the end of the day, because so much of what I do now becomes my job. I am my job for a living. And, you know, if I have an interest or a passion, i.e. a hockey jersey, bam, it becomes part of the business and stuff. So it's nice to have some people around in my life who knew me before there was a business, who knew me and know me. And they can tell you whether you're losing track, like, hey man, you ain't yourself anymore and stuff like that.
Keeps you grounded.
It's good to have people around. Also, friends and family work cheap. It's just that.
So before we wrap up, quick questions. I'm a New Jersey Devils fan. Have been for as long as I can remember. But I love the old school 90s hockey. Kind of similar like you, like Stevens, Niedermeyer, Billy Garens, Scott Gomez, even Stefan Richer, Claude Lemieux, all them old players. My favourite players. Yeah. Like, I used to wear number 4 because I love Scott Stevens so much. Also, I'm born on the same day as Scott Stevens in April on the 4th month. So I was like, I thought he had all his logic to it. He didn't. He just wore number 4. I had his whole logic to reason why I wore number 4. And but so on the back, that's on the back of that. Like, I love in hockey for so long, I love comics and things. And you were saying about the spark earlier. I remember meeting a local artist through my dad who used to drink with him, and he said to me, this was kind of like the spark that set this off. And he said to me one day, like, if you can combine comics and your art, you're winning. And it got to the point, it's like I get to combine comics, hockey, the two things I love, and my art into one thing. And now it's like, look what we make. So it's like winning from that point. But it all came from stems of like the things that I loved as a kid. And then
you're the king of your universe at that point.
Exactly.
Think about that, kids. Like, it's so many people. My father worked for someone else. He worked for the post office. He canceled stamps at night when the mail came through. He sorted it, canceled stamps and stuff. He worked for someone else. And that happens in this life. There are plenty of people that work for somebody else. In fact, I work for somebody else. I just happen to work for the audience. And when you work for the audience, you never work a day in your life. The idea of like not working for somebody else, working for yourself, there's a lot of room for growth there and a lot of room for happiness. What you may not make in the money that you'll make working for somebody else, you'll more than make up for in personal satisfaction. In terms of like, I bet you a designer as good as Andy could be scooped up by the NHL or whatever and paid a handsome amount of money to just do this. Instead, he gets to recreate himself every time he decides to do another jersey. He gets to make the job fun again. He doesn't have somebody saying, do this. He's going, you know what I want to do? That's the beauty, being able to wake up every day and not having somebody be like, you know what you got to do? Instead, waking up and being like, you know what I want to do? And having your own business, that's the key way to do it, man.
So last things before we wrap it in. Spider-Man No Way Home. Looks amazing.
Can't wait. Shooting webs over here. Can't wait. We're days away. I think we're going to see it. The Fat Man Beyond crew, me, Mark Bernard, and JC, Andrew, on Tuesday, if I remember correctly.
I'm seeing it Friday, unfortunately.
Minute before everybody else sees it, we get to see it.
Nice. Matrix. Also
can't wait.
Yep.
Absolutely can't wait. I mean, HBO Max making it too easy to watch it at home, but that's one that I might actually have to go see at a theater.
Hawkeye.
I've been enjoying the hell out of it. It's like a warm cup of cocoa.
It is. It's very good. I like the dynamic between them both. It's really fun.
3 and 4 have been the best so far, and what I'm hearing on the internet is 5 is mind-bending.
There's only 6 episodes.
Spoilers, we might get Kingpin back.
Yeah. Well, they announced Daredevil this week, Charlie Cox this week, didn't they? It's Daredevil, so that kind of leads straight into it. It's like perfect time to do it. And then Book of Boba Fett, end of the week.
Can't wait. My boy shot it. Dave Klein, the guy who shot Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy. He's the DP on the show. So I'm proud as I mean, look, I was involved. I'm in anyway because it's fucking Boba Fett, and I love what Favreau and Filoni have been doing with the Star Wars universe over at Disney Plus. But having like a friend work on it and stuff, like somebody who I came up with, like it's even more special. So I can't wait to watch it, but I can't wait to watch it knowing like my boy shot this.
I saw that second trailer looks amazing. It just looks like, again, old school Star Wars fan, Boba Fett's, but it just looks amazing.
That's the crazy thing. We live in a world where, like, you know, you got to remember 20 years ago, Boba Fett was like a cult character and nobody was thinking about doing anything for Boba Fett other than new action figures. Now they literally made a whole ass series about him, and you know it ain't going to be the only one. We'll probably get more. Yeah, but that's the thing. What I like about it is where he's treading like the old great. He's gone back to Tatooine. He's treading on ground. Do you know what I mean? Being like, right, I'm the boss, and this is what we're doing. It's quality. So I'll let you go because I know you're a busy guy and you've got a lot of stuff on. But I'd like to thank you very much for your time. It's been excellent. Thanks for letting me call. Thanks for making the jerseys. Thanks for making Kev's new jerseys, man. No worries. We've got lots of coming as well. Well, that was the last thing. What's been nice is playing with all your IPs and seeing all the stuff and seeing the stuff that's sent over. It's like, oh, that's from that film, that's from that film, that's from that film. And it's like, oh my God, I get to play with all these things. It's really cool to look at. I keep getting asked. And I'm going to have them all. I'm going to have them all. The one that... But when they offer you $1,000, Mark, you okay. We go back to that, do we? That's how it's going to be. All right. The one that I think you know, Josh, the king of the geeks. He constantly we speak quite regularly because we're in the same time zone. But we speak quite regularly. And he's always like, Fat Man Beyond jersey, and I'm like, well, I'm sure we'll get to that. But yes, it probably will be coming. I'm into that. But again, thank you very much for your time, Kevin. I know you're busy, but it's been awesome. I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you both so much. Here's the jersey we eventually have to get to in Kev's New Jersey line. Ready? Tusk. Yes, 100%. No two ways about it. It was going to be a fun one to draw. Think about that design, like the body scars all through the design. It looked really cool. It will look good. It was one of them because the type that you've already got for the Tusk would look really nice as a piece of there anyway, and just having the walrus in the middle would be hilarious. That's going to be dope. Yeah. That's going to be hilarious. Excellent talking to you. Thanks for having me. Thanks very much. Right, cheers. Cheers, Mark. Thanks much. Bye-bye. Geeky jerseys, Kev's New Jerseys. Cheers. Bye-bye. Wow.